Neverending Story, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hi, Trevor.
Hi.
So, our random word generator is still down, the one we like to use.
Yeah, it's still down. It's been a week later. This isn't like us recording the next day. This is us literally recording a week later and the database is still down.
Yeah.
So
short of building ourselves our own random word generator, one of our friends actually introduced us to this concept this week.
it was one of our friends from an improv group.
I don't know if she wants to be named on the show, but one of our friends from our improv group showed us this thing called What Three Words, which is basically a way to get my words have stopped working. Trevor, explain it.
Every 3 meter square in the world has 3 words permanently assigned to them. And so we're going to find some points of interest or some points nearby, and we're going to take those words, those 3 prompts, and we're going to throw them at each other. We'll go one at a time. So I'll say, Ben, what 3 words or what 3 prompts? And he'll give me his, and then I'll choose one. And we can either say where we're getting it from, or if we don't want to say that, then we can...
Yeah, so essentially this is just another way to get random words, but yes, using physical spaces in the world. And it's just an awesome project because the goal of it is to allow people to direct you to your latitude and longitude coordinates within 3 meters without having to reel off a bunch of numbers that could be difficult to do, particularly in an emergency.
So once we saw this and we thought, hang on, this is a great idea. You can... A, pinpoint your location, and B, find a hell of a lot of random word prompts.
Yeah. And they're relatively simple words. I think they'll work well. So let's do it. Hey, Trevor, what 3 prompts?
Ensembles, stylist, salvaging.
See, that goes together really well. It's like they planned it. So a stylist... salvaging ensembles for some sort of fashion show or something.
I'm picturing that this is like futuristic, so they're going through, like the tip or something like that, trying to find old scrap metal and all this sort of stuff. And it's basically to deck out, the New York fashion show or something like that. Okay,
so stylist, salvaging. I mean, salvaging almost makes me think they're in some sort of post-apocalyptic world, and this is like they're using the scraps of what's left to put together styles. Like they're the one person in this world who still cares about style and fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And so they define. They end up defining like what the fashion in this world is like. So Mad Max, for example, if there had been a stylist who came up with spikes and weird face grills and different things, then this is them, but you get to choose, you get to decide what the style, the defining style of this post-apocalyptic world is going to be. Is it leather? Is it metal scraps? Is it...
whatever you can salvage.
I don't know. Yeah. Is it vegetables? Because you can grow them. Is it just rubbing mud in strategic places all over your body?
Yeah, I see the ensemble as sort of like, this is your RPG group. So you and a band
okay. You're not thinking of ensemble as an ensemble of clothes. You're thinking of an ensemble as an ensemble of people.
Yeah, ensemble of people who are now going out and salvaging different things for like a key stylist. So,
or is the stylist just one of the classes in this game?
Oh, yeah.
So, this is a world where you don't have fighters and mages and rogues and healers. You have stylists.
Tailors.
And tailors and hairdressers.
And blacksmiths.
Blacksmiths. Yes, but because they're hipsters. They're like those hipster... they're like glass blowers or something. They're,
Oh, or they're baristas / blacksmiths because they're so hippie.
Right.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. Because they can't actually make a living from blacksmithing. It's just, but it's part of their identity.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I'm loving it already. I'm picturing this rich world, and you get to, I'm imagining like a battle that's sort of been waged, kind of like, in The Force Awakens, how on Jakku there's all those like crashed starships and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picturing going through and like salvaging stuff from different ships and finding, clothes of like, I don't know, the captain and all this sort of
functioning hair straightener for the hairdresser to imbue your hair with accuracy for when you are firing off your coffee cannon.
But yeah,
as the barista on the team.
I don't know. I think this has got some different comedic appeals as well. Like when you get mud all over the hairdresser's hair, they start getting in a bit of a panic, so that you got to quickly wash their hair down, and then they've got to find a blow dryer, and they're not.
Well, yeah. So I guess because I do like the idea of this sort of alternate class system. What are the strengths, and do they fall into like? Will they still? There are certain archetypes, obviously, in current RPGs. They wouldn't need to map exactly, but I sort of feel like the stylist is a bit of a buffer, because they, give the matching clothes or the right fashionable clothes, and that gives bonuses to attacks and defense and different
basically
things.
you make the people feel good, and then they get the bonuses to their attacks. I
feel like a hairdresser is just maybe a sort of a variant of that same sort of class.
Yeah, but they can also do heat attacks and all this sort of stuff because they've got the blow dryer.
Right, they've got the tools. Yeah.
I see the tailor as sort of like being able to repair the clothes, and if you've got a really good tailor with good points in tailoring, they can stitch together the clothes again.
Okay, then is the stylist then, because I was sort of conflating the stylist and the tailor, but if the stylist isn't actually making the clothes, is one of their skills like verbal, like they know what's cool?
Yep.
And so they can put down the enemy and make... I'm sort of feeling that essentially in this world, your health points are like morale or confidence or just like self-esteem, basically.
Yes.
And so, but part of the attacks are like, you've got that hair straightener. You get in there and you fucking clamp that on their,
you basically go in and demoralize
on their perm.
them.
Yeah, you like wreck their hairstyle, and they're like, "Oh my god, I look horrible." And demoralize them. Absolutely.
I'm just imagining that you come up against like a big group of people who were just all wearing the same sort of drab grey, sort of military-esque uniform, and the stylist just every single time it comes around to their turn, they're just putting out the hate, straight onto them.
Lay into them until like the other people barely even need to touch them because they're just in the fetal position on the ground.
Yeah,
thinking, "Oh my god,
so
I hate
demoralized
myself for my style choices."
Yeah,
yeah, and so then the barista / blacksmith. I mean, coffee drinks can be potions of sorts.
Yeah.
Like they can be boosters. They can make
caffeine. Perks you up.
Yeah,
but you come crashing down if you don't have enough.
Ooh, that's a good mechanic, actually. You have to get yourself through like the battles by continually getting the caffeine going, because if you crash, then you have some huge status effects. So you need to sort of wait until you're through enough and you know that you're safe to let yourself crash a bit.
But also you get yourself dirty, you get mud all over the clothes or on your hair, and you sort of start feeling down about yourself because you're not looking as good as what you could.
Yeah. Okay. So what is this world then where... Is this just one group of people in this world who really like value their look and their style, or is this a world where it matters to everybody?
I'm thinking this is kind of like the high society in like a Hunger Games sort of esque sort of world that you
Yeah.
know, it's sort of like these are the high and mighty people, and they're sort of going round all the other sort
Or
of
do we just do we get rid of the post-apocalyptic thing and just make this like a sort of wacky RPG set in these worlds of style and fashion and high society in some big city, but the way things are resolved is through these battles. Probably I feel like turn-based. I know you're not into the turn-based combat, but I feel like for those sort of skill sets, it would be turn-based.
I can see it sort of more along the lines of like your first Knights of the Old Republic game, where you can actually sort of pause and sort of set the things in motion.
I could see
but you can also play it in a
Dragon Age.
Yeah, you can play it in a continuous sort of motion that you basically just, it feels like it's continually going, but in reality, it's just you have a turn, they have a turn, you have a turn, they have a turn, sort of thing.
That would work. That kind of semi-turn based style of it's still all timed and stats behind the scenes, but you can pause, you can redirect people to give them different orders and in your party.
But if it then means that it feels a little bit more action based for those who sort of go, I know exactly what I want to do here. I want to do this. I want to do this. Then I want to do this. And you can hit your buttons to basically queue up the next few moves. Like you couldn't.
My tailor's getting in there, ducking under the coffee bean barrage, slicing off their tie, which puts them into a demoralized state, so the hairdresser can come in there with their curling iron.
Oh, not just the curling iron. I'm imagining that they've got the shaver sort of thing that they can just quickly.
Oh god, that's like a critical, get in there with the clippers.
Yep.
I feel like that's a super move because you can't come back from that.
Well,
not
can.
Without some really good style.
You just gotta you put on a hat and you feel better. Like
true. Yeah,
so
you can
easy.
Find wigs, different wigs, different hats. I guess will be like collectibles pickups. But they got to match your ensemble.
Yes, they
got to match your clothes. So
it's sort of like you've got to prepare going in. You could be coming up against. I mean, what would be the worst thing to come up against in this sort of world? Another stylist, or would it be,
It's someone who doesn't care about their style. So none of your attacks work.
Oh, that's the boss. It's a dentist.
It's a dentist.
They have no
bring
style.
The dentist. We bring the dentists back in. Totally. I don't know any dentists, so we can disparage them as much as we want.
We always do.
They are the ultimate villain.
They literally only live for one thing: to hurt you and I.
Us specifically.
Yes.
Like for some reason, and maybe it's all the previous times we've talked about dentists, they keep coming after us. All right.
Ben, what are your 3 prompts?
My 3 prompts brought to us by Disneyland. Right near the temporarily closed Star Tours The Adventures Continue ride on Tomorrowland Way. My 3 words are scanner, erupted, surgical.
Oh, okay.
Scanner, erupted, surgical.
Cool.
So, gross. My mind went to like zits erupting.
Okay.
Because I was trying to think of something to do with like medicine.
See,
but then
mine went to volcanoes, so...
Mine did, but then I was trying to think of how the scanner... So, yes, we can move away from pus and more towards magma.
Yep.
That's fine.
Well, and then you find out that this entire world that they live on is just the massive face of a giant.
That's the big twist at the end.
What a twist.
When you finally do your surgical strike, dropping the nuclear bomb into the volcano to destroy the horrific race of mutated
it's
frogmen?
Bacteria? They just look like
just
frogmen?
giant bacteria?
Yeah.
that look like frogmen.
Yeah.
Then you get the zoom out, and actually they're just applying Clearasil.
Yeah.
To their face. You know, it's all a metaphor for skincare.
Yeah. But in this really awesome world. So I'm just imagining that volcanoes are coming up all over this world, right? And so your whole thing is, you know, you've got to be able to scan for where, you know, earthquakes are sort of hitting around this area, and that's where you can sort of pinpoint where another volcano is going to arrive.
Yes. So it turned so one day a volcano just like crops up where there's never been even a mountain before.
Yeah. I'm talking middle of the city. Middle of the city, like you see the buildings that were there and now they're all on an angle, you know.
Yeah. And it's just cropped up. Lava erupts, you know, smoke plumes, the whole city's destroyed. But like the scientists come and they have to figure out what happened here.
Yeah.
And they discover that it was a purposefully made volcano. Created, and they sort of find evidence of this underground species who is essentially trying to now destroy the overlanders.
Yeah.
So what's the game? I'm kind of picturing even like a flying game where you're trying to like accurately drop bombs into these volcanoes or something, while maybe like fighting down other people or.
Yeah, I kind of I'm always picturing a descent / terminal velocity-esque game where you're flying down into the volcano and, you know, sort of going through some of the magma tunnels and all this sort of stuff, and basically trying to clear out all the bacteria, you know, as they're attacking it, and they can literally overrun your ship in there.
Yep.
So, you know, that's you know, one thing, but then any stragglers that sort of make it out of the volcano, which every time that there's sort of like a volcano, the lava sort of comes out, and then there's just like magma tubes and all this sort of stuff down there.
Yeah, I think because it's this constructed thing, essentially, it's sort of this tunnel network within. It's not a traditional, you know, kind of volcano. It's this tunnel network within there. Even maybe elements of like technology or kind of organic stuff or something. And so, the goal is maybe there's something you need to get from the middle of each volcano. Like there's a reason they don't just like nuke them from the top to kill everyone inside. I think you are trying to gather evidence and gather the power cores or something from the middle of these volcanoes so that you can counter it and find out more about how. And
the more that you get, the better that the scanning is, so that you can hit these earlier in the cycle.
That's it. I think there's definitely something around, and maybe even making a choice of like, okay, we've got 3 coming up in various stages. Which one are you going to attack first? If you knock that one off, you know, it's going to be an easier go because it hasn't grown as much. There's not as many of these replicating bacteria frogmen in there. But it means that the other one's got time to even, you know, reach the critical level where shit really starts to go down. I like the idea then of the balance between your sort of outer world, your overland flying and shooting and dogfighting. Because I feel like you've got to have, maybe there's a human faction who is taking the side of the frog species, because they believe that like this is a sign that the world should be recreated in their image, whatever. But they've managed to amass an army of sorts, and so you're fighting them on the surface as you're flying around scanning for these things, and then you duck down. It's like, all right, I'm taking on this volcano, and now there's a lot of close combat stuff, like close quarters stuff, I guess I should say, where it's more about kind of dodging and weaving. And if they start getting on your ship, it's like, oh well, lucky I got that upgrade that like electrifies the outside of my ship or whatever and blasts them off. You know, you've got different more upgrades there. Yeah,
I like the idea that there is a chance that you can actually like occasionally get out of the ship to do some like investigating and that sort of stuff. But it's only, you know, when you're sure that you're safe, because if any of those frogmen come in that literally tower over the top of you,
maybe
because that scale of them being so much bigger than you, like,
yeah,
would make you think twice about getting out of the ship.
Maybe when you get the power core, you have to get out of the ship. Like, there's sort of a sequence within every volcano where it's like, okay, I've fought enough of them off. There's probably another wave coming, but I need to find the best place to put my ship so that I can get off, run in, like, navigate the areas that my ship can't get to, grab that power core. That's going to set off an alarm. So it's kind of like the, like, escape the in Descent, where you always had to get out before it exploded at the end or whatever. But there's a sequence where you, on foot, have to, like, quickly run and traverse the area, jump back into your ship, and then, zoom out, fighting these frogmen the whole way.
Yeah.
And then once you're out, I think you do either yourself or you've cleared the way for it to be essentially nuked from above.
Yeah. This actually...
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's fun. All right. Hey, Trevor. What 3 prompts?
Courtesy of Eureka Skydeck, we have slides, pipes, trunk.
What was it? Slides?
Pipes.
Pipes and trunk.
Yes. So I'm thinking trunk as in trunk of the car, or like, an old chest sort of thing.
Maybe. I was picturing an elephant's trunk, like spewing water down pipes, but I don't know where that would go. Slides, pipes, trunk. Is this like a water park sort of
I'm actually
builder, or...
I'm seeing this as you're a young kid who's gone exploring in your grandparents' attic, and you see this old chest, and when you open it up,
and you're like, "Oh, Grandma, put your clothes back on."
What?
You saw an old chest in
Oh.
Grandma's place.
It's too late at night, dude. Not feeling great. Shut up. You see a slide that goes down into the darkness.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm kind of seeing it as like, when you think of like Super Mario Brothers, how that, they're plumbers who went down a pipe into like a Mushroom Kingdom sort of thing. You're going into like a similar sort of thing of down through this slide.
You go down this slide. It's like going way longer than it should do.
Yeah.
You were in the attic, but it's definitely going more than like 2 stories down, 3 stories down, 10 stories down. Just keeps going, and then you pop out. Are you just falling from the sky then, like in this new world?
You're on a slide the entire time, and it's sort of like,
okay.
I'm picturing that every now and again, it's sort of like one of those water slide sort of things where you actually have like the connections, so you get that little beam of light every now and again.
Yeah. But you can't see out at this point.
You can't see out. And then you get down
and
to
then
the
it
bottom,
opens up to an
like,
open slide.
It's like a fantastical world that, has anthropomorphic animals or...
I do love this as an opening to the game. This very sort of realistic attic. It almost feels like a walking simulator or something. You
Gone Home or something like that.
Slide. And you go down this slide, and the colors sort of start to change as you're sliding down, start to saturate. You start seeing those blinks of color. And then it goes into an open slide as you're going down, and you get that HDR like bright light in your eyes, and as your eyes, adapt, then it's just this like hugely colorful world where there's all these pipes and slides everywhere, and
I can just...
It's essentially like a kids' TV programming kind of world.
Yeah, kids' TV programming kind of world. Like, effectively, it's a 3D running, 3D platformer a la your Mario 64 / Banjo-Kazooie sort of thing, bright colors, all this sort of stuff. But there's just slides and pipes and stuff everywhere that, lead into secret caverns, and it's now.
But the
all
whole
about
thing is
you
a
getting
metaphor.
Yep.
The whole thing is a metaphor for you dealing with the death of your grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get all serious there.
Yeah,
No, I don't.
We'll get all serious there. And
You
saw an old chest and you and you had a mental break. And
it's all in your head. Get out. Wake up. No, I like that. I like a slide-based platformer. That's interesting because it's not quite grinding, which I feel like has been in platformers for a while.
So when you were a kid,
yeah,
and I see this all the time with kids, they always love to try and climb up the slide because it's like if you can climb up one of those twirly slides, you've put your hands and all that sort of stuff in the right place.
Well, I love that as a Metroidvania mechanic where as you're going around this world, you've got these slides. They're one way to start.
Yeah.
You can't get up those fucking slides. Especially you could have different materials. Like maybe you can get up the fiberglass slides, but you can't get up a metal slide.
No, they're too hot.
And you can't get up a water slide. Like that's, But as you go, you unlock powers or whatever or equipment. It's like, oh, now you can get up metal slides.
Yeah.
Because you got the magnet boots or whatever.
You got the magnet boots and also the gloves that stop you from burning your hands on the slide.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, they power up from the heat of those slides and you can cast fire.
I mean, literally, whose bad idea was it to ever make metal slides in Australia? I mean, come on.
Especially with no cover.
We get to 40 degrees in summer and, my son wanted to go on, he climbed all the way to the top of this slide, which they put bloody... a rope climbing course to get up to these bloody things now.
Yeah.
He gets up there and he goes, no, I want to climb down now. I don't want to go on it. It's too fucking hot. He didn't say fucking, but No,
he did. That's exactly how Trevor's son talks. I don't want to go on that. It's too fucking hot, Dad.
And I'm like...
Get me down.
So he did a backflip.
So Trunk, I think Trunk comes in because, like you said, there's anthropomorphic animals and...
No, Trunk is the chest that he went into.
But we can use it for two things. Because there's also an elephant who's really sick of people thinking his trunk is a water slide.
Oh, after you climbed up inside it and and he's talking to you and you're hearing the voice.
It's that's not a water slide, it's mucus.
Oh. You got to climb up inside to actually help his migraine, and it's actually caused by a sinus infection in which there's all these little frogmen.
Yeah, nuke it from space. Because that's what they did to Grandma. And I haven't gotten over it. They nuked her from space. How could it happen?
We say nuked, but it was more like a microwave. Cooked her inside.
Grandma. All right. Whose turn is it?
It's yours. Ben, what are your 3 prompts?
All right. Well, I've gone to the first aid center because that last one hurt my brain. In Disneyland again. And my 3 words are robots, uptown, played. Uptown girl. Uptown bard. You've been living with a rotten bolt. And I think that you should get it fixed. So I'm sort of feeling, I feel like this is some sort of robot band, like Uptown, comedians or something, like someone on stage, robots on stage, in a city. That's the sort of feeling I'm getting.
Okay, is this sort of like a Detroit Become Human-esque world where robots / androids are part of, the daily grind?
Yeah. So you're thinking they've taken over certain... Played. Or is this grifters? Robot grifters?
Downtown robot grifters uptown. So... they've made their way from downtown to uptown to play with they're high society people. Yeah,
they're going to the next level. Because downtown is like the robot slums, the robot ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
And they're finally they're trying to make their way to where all the uppity humans live,
Yep.
who look down upon the robot kind. Is this a world where robots, like, they never made humanoid robots, or like not robots that really look like humans, because they very much wanted to separate them from the world. All of these robots are functional. So some of them just have a single arm that was built for, like, making coffee. But they did gain sentience.
Yes.
And a lot of them have been abandoned and made obsolete.
So
and stuck in ghetto.
Is this like a singular AI, or do they have individual personalities and individual AIs? So some AIs are better than others.
Maybe it's a little bit of both, because I think you're right. Like, just from not that it has to make sense when we're talking about robot grifters, but the coffee making arm maybe wouldn't initially be built with that much AI that it could ever gain sentience. But I feel like maybe there is like a central AI, but it's not a personality in itself. It's a way that they're all connected.
Okay.
Maybe they are. Oh, maybe this is like the Internet of Things. All of these robots had enough AI to do the job that they were doing, but they were also connected to the internet to, like, get updates and stuff. And once enough of these things were put on the internet, it essentially created a giant brain, which now is the AI, like, with enough nodes to think.
Yeah.
And so now I think they do each have their own personalities, because this event sort of ended up, upgrading all their firmware and imbuing them with enough personality, but also they can communicate to each other anywhere in the world, and there is sort of a common goal, perhaps.
Okay. So who do you play?
So I think you play, essentially, so what I found funny was the idea of these robots attempting to emulate a human despite not having humanoid bodies. So I'm kind of picturing it is like one arm from the coffee machine it is one of the arms of this thing, and they've put it in a shirt.
Yep.
And then the other arm is like, I don't know, the vacuum cleaner hose.
Yep. So
from the automatic vacuum.
You want this to be kind of like an Octodad sort of thing, where you're playing the robot trying to make your way while grifting people for money and
essentially you're basically the three kids in a trench coat of non-humanoid robots.
Yep.
Trying to pass yourself off as a human.
There's just something
and grift people. And so, like, essentially the head is basically like the equivalent of an Alexa, because it had the voice and can sort of make some light effects and stuff, but it always wears a hood, and you can't really, it doesn't actually have a face. They've managed to put sunglasses on it or something.
Yep. So I'm imagining that there's like a robot police sort of group that aren't necessarily connected to the internet. They're sort of heading out, just trying to collect all these rogue robots, as it were.
You think it's other robots?
I think it's like a police force made of robots that aren't connected to, like, the general internet, because they found that when robots connected to the internet, they actually...
Yeah, well, once this singularity event happened, essentially this AI event happened, like anytime you connected a new
node
microwave to the node, like it immediately stopped functioning properly and like, feeling sorry for itself. I don't think they attacked humans yet. No. I don't think they're violent. I think they're just aware now of their place and their station in life, and they're not happy about it.
Yeah, so I love the idea of this robotic police force that is still very much along, I don't know, maybe even the RoboCop, Ed 209 sort of halt,
Or like Star Wars Episode 1 droids or something.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah, and keeping it...
But a bit more menacing.
Keeping it a little bit more... That's why I said the Ed 209, because that thing is, huge. And I'm just imagining, because they're not actually, connected to the internet, they're basically just following along with this trail of trail of broken pieces and all this sort of stuff.
I like the idea that they follow the Boyd's model of like they're not connected to the internet, so they can't all communicate with each other. So they have to work in formation based on what the other ones are doing without any of them actually being the leader particularly. Yep. But I think they do have the ability to like detect robots. And so part of the game is like if you come across these, you have to work very hard to pretend to be human. But they are also robots, so they're not actually they don't have a great idea of what humans are.
No,
either.
No, because they can't detect metal.
Kind of dumb.
All they can do is detect like
they look at behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just because I'm just loving the comedy that can come from like halt. Who goes there? It's like hello, I am human.
My name is Hugh.
You, like, force your arm to move jerkily. I'm not sure what the controls are. I do like the idea of one, like, articulated arm and one is literally a vacuum tube. That's kind of fun to me. And you're having to, like, they've both got their functions.
Yeah.
I wonder, are your legs, like... What's the fucking Boston Dynamics bot called?
The one that they kick around all the time.
Yeah, but the four-legged one.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of those, but balancing on two legs. So it's really freaking awkward. It's not their Atlas one or whatever that can actually walk on two legs. It's a Spot.
Yeah.
Or equivalent. Just like it was a robot that was made for walking real dogs. You tie them to the back.
Wow.
But yes, I kind of love the Octodad sort of thing of like fitting in to enough that they believe you're human, but then also like stealing their shit or whatever. You've got sort of missions to infiltrate or something.
Yeah.
And try not to like suck up their lunch with your vacuum accidentally.
So I'm just wondering how many humans are actually around at this stage. Are humans somewhat of a rarity in this town that you start finding that?
Well, I think they are segregated essentially. So yeah, as you start off, you've got the sort of lower status, like poverty-stricken humans who are relegated to the sort of robot areas of town, or vice versa, that the robots were sent there. But those areas have been mostly populated by robots now. And yes, as you kind of make your way further into the inner society, the upper levels of society, then you start to see more humans, and you have to get a bit better and find different clothes and hats and
that's cool.
Whatever else. I just love the idea of accidentally like sucking things up with your vacuum hand. I can't get past that. All right, Trevor, what 3 prompts?
Okay, so courtesy of Fed Square, we have stored figure files.
Stored?
Stored.
Stored figure files.
I mean, what's immediately come to mind is the idea of like a personality or a friend who's been stored within the Matrix sort of thing, or stored within some sort
like
of computer.
You trapped your friend 13 levels deep in your porn folder.
Now you got to go visit those files and get...
Yeah, it's like schoolwork, boring stuff, office stuff. Nobody cares about this.
You accidentally tronned him.
Porn.
Like
you pronned him.
You pronned him. So you accidentally had like a laser set up, like a hacked together laser made from a vibrator, a vibrator, Xbox Kinect, and a laser from a CD drive that you just clutched together, and it turned him like he was checking out your computer and accidentally hit something, and he got pronned into the computer, and now you've got to go in and save him.
So it's an adult version of Tron, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the laser was part of the vibrator. I think they have laser targeting now, like the tools, like the power tools you can get with the laser targeting. I think vibrators just have those now. You got to get your aim right.
Yeah, you don't want to go into the wrong hole. It's hell when it goes in the nostril. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what you're aiming for. It's pretty far off, but that's why you need the laser.
Yeah.
So he gets dixelated and brought into the Pronverse. What is so what is this world? And are we really continuing?
Yes, we are. We're continuing down this. You went there. If you're not happy with
No.
Okay, so when we think of Tron, that was 8-bit.
Mm-hmm.
Times it by 8, and you got 64-bit, and that's what computers are now. So it's sort of like a beautiful 3D rendered world that is still, rather dark. You've still got all the memory pathways. You've still got RAM and all this sort of stuff. It's just that they look a little bit more high definition now.
Okay, so we keep it clean for the most part.
Yes.
It's only that it just happened to be that it was hooked up to the porn folder, and that's where you fall. I do like the idea of these folders being kind of relevant to what was stored in them.
I kind of like that one of the characters that you talk to is like big nasty gangbang.mkv. So you just talk to them the whole time, and they're really, really nice.
They're really nice. Yeah, they're actually a really nice guy. All of them are.
Yeah. So just the idea of the files being just like in Tron,
being personalities. Yeah.
And,
okay, and so
their names are just the names of the files.
All right, I like this building on from Tron where you're kind of... I mean, in Tron, what is the master program?
Yep.
Or something. I like the idea that you're more trying to find the hardware. It's like you think you need to get to the CPU. And you get to the CPU and they're like, no, like, I'm not king around here anymore. They put in, like, dual 3080s or whatever it is. Like, the GPU rules here. Have you seen the calculations they can do? Yeah.
Oh, you go in there, and because it's SLI, you've got that,
it's like a dual-headed kind of...
The twin sort of talking at the same time,
Yeah.
Oh, that weird
all-powerful,
stereo,
super creepy.
them talking at the same time, and, one starting the conversation, the other one completing it, and...
Yeah, they're perfectly, synced up and connected through their extra little... pathway. And then are you asking them to let you get out? Why do they want to keep you there? Or do they just believe you're a program who's getting uppity?
Yeah, they don't understand because, you don't conform to simple calculations. All they can do is do, simple mathematics really, really quickly, and you trying to talk to them and reason with them. They just don't understand.
Essentially they grew powerful because they managed to mine some Bitcoin and, buy everyone off, raise themselves to power in this computer world.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't conform. You're CPU bound.
Yeah. So now I'm wondering, like, as you're traveling through the hard disk and RAM and all this sort of stuff, like, how is this not just entirely a porno game? Ram through that hard disk. Okay, continue. Are we going, like, do we go through, like, the South Bridge and all these different sort of chips and their different neighborhoods?
I mean, I think we can definitely reference some of that sort of stuff for the nerdy people out there who will understand it. But yes, I like the neighborhoods of, like,
North Bridge,
South Bridge.
Yep.
Take the bus up to get between places, and the like USB towers of the like pins and stuff.
So where do you finally find your friend? Where did he sort of end up taking up residence? Ooh,
yeah.
Did he get caught in a bad sector?
Yes. Yeah, he got caught in a bad sector on the hard drive. Or maybe he just got, like...
But because literally you... Ooh, okay. Your race against time is the fact that Windows is updating.
Yep, okay.
Windows
and
is
you've already
updating,
delayed it 3 times.
and you've got, X number of time before the computer shuts down. Your friend got caught in a bad sector, but luckily he's also been held in RAM somewhere. Like, it was loaded.
Okay.
So you've only got till the restart to find him, or he's gone forever.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. And then you eventually find him, and you're on your way out, but then he insists you have to save his huge porn directory before, like, it gets corrupted, and he goes back, and it's this touching scene as you lose your friend to his porn addiction, but you escape.
You escape, and he, just as you're exiting the RAM, like, he lets go of your hand and stays behind.
Yeah, falls into the file of, like, horny stepmother and MILF. And then you get out, you get out and you see one file on the desktop, and it's that original gangbang file, and you click it open and you see your friend in there, and he's having the time of his life. He's in his element. He's found his place in the world.
And then right at the very end, he turns to the camera and goes, "Thank you. Thank you for..."
As he comes.
Ben, what are your 3 prompts?
All right, I think the next logical place to go is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. And the words that has given me is event, diagram, married.
Ooh.
So I'm immediately thinking of, like, seating charts.
Yeah, I'm picturing that this is... And why isn't this a game yet? Why do we not have a game based off of, like, the person who organizes the marriage or
Yeah, event, marriage, wedding planner.
You play J-Lo.
I definitely feel like there's a pretty intense puzzle game in, like, getting the right people in the right seats to avoid fights and tensions and stuff.
I mean, this could literally be the next Sims, like Sim Wedding. That your whole thing is that you got to look into the people and find out what the bride really wants and what color scheme and all this sort of stuff, and
Or it's the next Papers, Please. I know we go there a lot, but I'm picturing, like, you've got all the dossiers, you're having to, like, go through them all, compare them, put them up on your pin board, you've got your big seating chart, and yeah, you're having to, like, figure out, okay, how many vegetarians have we got coming, we can't put the mother of the groom on table 2, but they don't get along with, the sister, so we've got to put them on opposite sides of the table. You get all these, like, this web of tensions and emotional issues.
Yeah. I can see this in glorious 3D that is viewed from above. So it's fully rendered. It's just that the camera's in really shit position.
Yeah, and it's what do you call it? Isometric as well.
Yeah. So okay, you've also got to deal with things like food crisis, like where they couldn't get a certain type of meat, so the menu has to change last minute, or
I think you could go sort of day by day, and you have different events that crop up, and you're having to shift things, and, like, it might mean, oh shit, I need to redo that whole section of the tables, of the seat planning, or it might be like the schedule needs to shift because they can't get a refrigerated van for the giant ice cream truck, so until 3 p.m. So they're not going to be able to get the cake to you on time. And so, you have to, like, shuffle around the schedule.
You got to obviously have either the band or the DJ, sort of set up in the right area. They need to also get food, so you got to be careful as to, what food they're actually getting, and if they're not fed right, then maybe they're
but they're not going to play as well or something.
Yeah, they're not going to play as well.
So is this whole game set around a single wedding, or is this more a series, like where you're doing a series of weddings?
I think you as a wedding planner are planning numerous different weddings, but you can sort of pick and choose whether you do a half-assed job and you choose like 2 or 3 weddings at the same time, or you try to get that one wedding perfect, so you go for that high-class wedding.
I'm having deja vu. I feel like we've done this game before. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea though of the whole game is you really get deep into this one wedding, and there's just all these dramas around it, because then you get to know the people who are coming, and you can have actual characters. And maybe the mother and the mother of the groom does come in and like throw a spanner in the works because she's decided that the flower color is wrong. You need to decide whether to call the bride and groom and tell and ask them, or if that's going to offend someone. You got different branching paths through it.
Okay, so this is this is kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's, in that you got sort of 5 days to go through the different things, and you're learning things about these different people, different things crop up. But then you've also got sort of like that custom thing at the end where you can you get a bit of replayability, because you can actually, basically generate a new set of characters and run through another wedding planning sort of thing. It's not as, obviously the customized version that we have is, going to have better stories, but if you want to keep on, planning weddings...
There's sort of a procedural version, so you can just play with the mechanics more without the narrative. Yeah, that's cool. I do like the idea of procedurally generating a set of wedding guests and then figuring out who they do and don't like and what that would lead to. Like, that'd be a fun project to mess around with.
But no, I also like the idea of, physically creating these stories and curating the stories, and this is the way that you reckon it should actually go, and then you can have some systems that end up working with you in the random thing anyway. Yeah, like have some systems as to come up with, this person sitting next to this person, they happen to have competing political ideologies, and they fight like crazy.
It's a balance between like, okay, you can put people who maybe disagree a bit together, but not if it's a really boozy wedding, because then that's like going to amp things up and be more likely to have a fight break out.
This is actually really cool. I noticed that you laughed quite a lot when I said Five Nights at Freddy's.
I was just comparing that to a wedding. To a wedding. Like I didn't get the connection there.
But now you do.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not saying that you have to go horror elements, even though they would be. They would be.
I mean, some weddings.
Some weddings. Oh, God.
Some weddings. Huh. Bridezilla, am I right? Huh. Anyway. That's sort of an unfair stereotype. Should we do one more?
Yeah, why not?
All right, last one. I think it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to go out to the world.
3 words.
And I'm just going to click.
All right, you zoomed all the way out?
Yep. I'm clicking in the middle of the North Pacific Ocean.
Nice.
Rocks insisting waggle.
I feel like there's a guy named Rock, and he's got an insisting waggle. I don't know. It feels like the kind of weird name of a movie or a book or something.
Yeah.
Rock's insisting waggle.
I immediately pictured the rock biter from Neverending Story.
Oh, okay.
And just an adventure with him. Like there's just something about like a waggle being like a mystical bird or mystical animal within the Neverending Story that he's going off and searching for, and he keeps on insisting to his wife that he saw the waggle, and then goes on an adventure and to prove it.
Gets on his big rock bike.
Yep.
I do like the idea of the scale, having fun with the scale of that.
Yep.
Because I'm picturing a sort of real zoomed out view where you're driving this freaking rock bike across the landscape and just leaving swaths of destruction in your wake.
Yep.
to get from place to place. Yeah, I could see this as kind of a traveling game like that, where you've got this sort of overworld, and do you think part of the game is doing the least amount of travel you can because you are worried about what you're destroying?
I don't know. My mind has just gone into, sort of like a dead static drive sort of view of, it's over the top. You sort of your main thing is to, find the waggle, but along the way you end up having to help these other people who you may have actually caused some damage to their.
Basically, a road trip movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You meet friends along the way after, having destroyed their homes on your last trip through.
Yeah.
And are you fucking kidding me? I just rebuilt this.
And the side quests are just as important as the main quest. Like, I know sometimes in some of these games, especially like Breath of the Wild, what I loved that they did in Breath of the Wild is limit the main quest to just this is the main thing that you need to do, and the rest of the story was all filled in from all these side quests. So if you just did the main quest, you only saw 10% of the story. Yeah. And to do that for a game within the Neverending Story, which can,
endless, by definition, endless amounts of variety of beings and places and cities and things. Yeah.
Of course, you can limit it to the Neverending Story happens to be on an island or something like that, so that
you'd have to, you'd have to, obviously. But so what's the main gameplay? You've obviously got your driving around slowly mechanics between places, which is really just, I think, you travel between areas. Is it sort of dialogue based then?
I think
puzzles?
there's a sort of, there is some combat based stuff. You can call into things like call back to the nothing and all this sort of stuff that could be a bit of fun. Like
summon your buddies. Your racing snail comes in and attacks your enemies and races off again.
Yeah, and you can go through the swamps of sadness and find Atreyu, and he's still
riding around on Artax.
No, Artax is dead.
Well, no, because Bastion brought him back at the end of the movie.
Artax.
Assume we're setting this afterwards.
It's set within the Neverending Story. Bastion turns up at one point.
Oh, it's set during the events of
the
movie / first half of the book.
I know. I love the idea of ringing the nothing and going a little bit more in depth into that wolf character. He always scared me as a kid. Like
Gmork.
I can't remember what his name was. I haven't seen it in a long time. Gmork From Ork.
Okay. The Gmork From Ork. Yeah.
Is that the name of the episode?
I think so. Yes. Fuck. Nano Atreyu. Okay. I like that though, actually, because then with that sort of overworld, because I'm sort of picturing it looks, because of how huge the rock biter is, it looks tilt shifted, right?
Yeah.
It's really giving that sense of the scale, but then you can see the nothing around the edges. You can see
it's
starting to blackness
starting to
come in. Yeah.
Oh, there could be parts of the map that you've previously gone through that are now gone, as the nothing has sort of followed the trail of what you're doing. And it turns out maybe the whole thing of the waggle actually,
I forgot about the waggle.
Well, maybe the waggle is like just another minion of the nothing, kind of like Gmork was, and so basically you following the waggle, you think that you're actually causing all this nothing that's actually following you, but in reality, you're keeping ahead of it because you're following the waggle and all this sort of stuff.
That's an interesting thing, because I could imagine the rock biter being stricken by that idea that he's doing damage, but not knowing what to do about it.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that. I like that as a side story And then, you end up getting to that scene. I'm pretty sure the rock biter gets eaten by the nothing. Like, taken up by the nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie. So you get to that sad... It all climaxes in that sad scene.
Where you've just caught up to the waggle, and it's like you're in the only place left that is, like, this small little part of the island that is, like, you've got Gmork, the waggle, and the rock biter. And...
Yeah.
Basically...
And then,
you know...
You have your little...
You fall back into the nothing. And then, Bastion obviously comes and saves the day, but... the rockbiter almost thinks because he made that self-sacrifice that, I don't know.
He thinks he saves.
He thinks
he saved it. Well, maybe he did. Like, maybe you just shift that scene a bit because, he's like, I can't remember exactly, but he's talking to Atreyu right before the nothingness comes to get him, and then I think Falcor comes and gets Atreyu, but you could shift it a bit so maybe the rockbiter does do something to, like, hold off the waggle.
Well, he grabs the waggle and just pulls him into the nothing as he goes.
Into the nothing, yeah. Yeah, you could give him that, like, heroic ending. That's cool.
Yep.
Rewrite the ending a bit in favor of the rockbiter. These strong hands. Cool. All right, well, it's very fucking late. So I think we're going to end it there tonight. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to go and find all of our previous episodes, go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. Check them out. Leave a review. We'd love to hear what you thought of the episode.
And let us know what you thought of What 3 Prompts.
Yeah, tell us if we should keep doing this. I liked it.
I liked it quite a lot.
We'll definitely bring this back, I think.
Yes. Especially if our
random word generator
is totally fucked. And also we'd like to thank the wonderful musicians at Kuridas for the use of the song Mount Defiance of the album Containment Failure.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I am a human. Please pass the butter.